is there peer pressure among fans to like an artist or a particular album? Now, obviously we were talking behind the scenes prior to the show starting, but like if you think about it, that question is pretty general. And I think that a lot of people can probably relate to this because we've all come across a friend, a colleague, someone down the street, someone online who tried to make you believe that an album or an artist is better or worse, right? Because it's not just it ain't just a positive, better or worse than you actually believe. And so, there's pressure in the atmosphere at all times for people to try to get you to like what they like or not like what they don't like. And so, how real is that, Q? Like how do you feel like that actually plays out like in the real world? Do you feel like that's a real thing, or are we just making this concept up of peer pressure?
Very real. Very real. Very similar to the topic that we were just talking about, right? The older generation and newer generation. If you're in IT, right? Or if you, let's talk about food. Let's talk about food. There's sometimes people may tell you this is the best restaurant in the world, right? And you eat the food and it's all right. You actually try your hardest to convince yourself, maybe I didn't order the right thing on the menu. Maybe I brushed my teeth too hard and I can't really taste the food like I wanted to taste it. I'm going to give it another chance. But if you go to McDonald's right now and the burger you get is bad, you're going to not say, I suspected it. It's not good. I mean, there's so many people in the world that like McDonald's but don't want to admit that they like McDonald's. But they'll be so quick to tell you, oh my God, Brazilian steakhouse is amazing. You should go there. I ate a few things here and there, but it's amazing. There's so many people that say, oh, Chipotle is all right, but then they'll praise, the Parks jerk chicken or something like that. I still think that goes on. I think that goes on with a bunch of stuff, including music. I think there's a lot of people that will say like, oh, Lil Yachty's album is trash. It sucks. I knew it. But you didn't really listen to it hard enough. But then you'll say something like Certified Lover Boy. This is just examples. Certified Lover Boy. The first listen, I didn't really like it, but I'm going to keep giving it more and more listens. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is because there's a very special person in my family that I was talking to the other day that said they do not like Kendrick Lamar's new album. And if you said that outside, look, this is how crazy it was. My dad said, wait a second. My dad is not a hip hop fan. My dad is old. My dad, he listens to, if you ask him about Kofi Olomide, okay, yeah, sure, he can write a whole review on that. Kendrick Lamar, he interjected and said, really? Kendrick Lamar's album is is on the news. It's winning Pulitzer Prizes. And you mean you don't like it? And they said, yeah, I feel like the songs were not necessarily enjoyable. I feel like the songs were traumatizing. Like, for instance, We Cry Together, which happened to slip 80 spots on the Billboard charts. I don't know if you saw that. Like a record 80 spots. It was 19 and it slipped to like 100. But traumatizing. Maybe for some people, they're like, maybe it's just a little too woke or whatever. Right. So it's like we're forced to say that we like the album, but maybe you just didn't like it. And I do think that Kendrick Lamar, same thing with To Pimp a Butterfly. I'm telling you right now, I don't really care for To Pimp a Butterfly, but I can acknowledge that that's a really good album and it's a really good artwork. But there's some people out there that let's be real, the Kendrick Lamar's last album did not click with them. But if you go out in the streets and tell somebody that, they're going to be looking at you like you're crazy, like you don't know music, like you should be abandoned from hip hop. So, I think it happens more often than not. And I think it's something that needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah, as you're talking, I was thinking about it, man, and I don't want to philosophize or be too philosophical with this, if you will, but at the end of the day, You know what we're really talking about? It's the power of influence. It's the power of recommendations, right? Because we all do it,
great
right?
word.
We all do it. You know, you brought up examples about food. It's real, right? It really depends on who you trust. Because think about it. You and I, we kind of listen to very similar music. So if you say, "Yo, I heard this album and I think it was alright," or "Yo, I heard this new Vori just dropped a new album. I haven't listened to it. You have." If you told me, "Yo, dog, that Vori album is top album of the year, dog." Do you understand the type of impression I'm going to have going into listening to it? You know why though? It's because I kind of know your taste in music. I kind of know what I think you deem as valuable. So the way I look at it is going to change. As opposed to somebody down the street, I have no background. I have no insight into what they like. I'm not really taking their recommendation to heart at all. I'm gonna be like, oh, okay. Damn, for real? But I'm not going to internalize it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is recommendations and the peer pressure that comes along with music, it all depends on who is saying what. I personally try to stay off Twitter when I'm listening to like opinions of music prior to me listening to it because I'm like, bro, I don't know who any of these people are. And I'm not about to let Joe Schmo dictate my ear. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about to let Joe Schmo dictate how I feel about this new album when I hear it. Like, I'm not doing it. This is the same reason why I don't listen to movie reviews. I'm not listening to Cisco and Ebert give me their Rotten Tomato score. I'm not even looking at it. But I will actually take a recommendation from somebody who I actually have somewhat of a clue into the stuff that they value or don't value. And I think that like that may be where peer pressure can be a good thing versus where it may be, you know, a little bit useless, if you will. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, but well, let me ask you this: is that a good thing? I mean, is this where music should be, like recommendation based? Like, if you like something, or should we as music fans be more open to music? Different types of music.
But to be honest with you, I think all of this is inevitable. None of it. Everything is based on recommendation. Think about it. Somebody can listen to this podcast and be like, "Yo, I really like this show, man, bro. You gotta check this out." Everything spreads off word of mouth. That's literally inescapable. There's no way around that. I guess to me, when it gets bad is when people start overdoing it on social media and start trolling with how they feel about something, even though it's not really their true opinion. To me, that's when the peer pressure becomes a little problematic. But just somebody you know or somebody who you run across and saying, "Yo, I don't really like the album." Cool, that's their opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, opinions are opinions. Like, I can't change someone from if they don't like the Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers album. I can't change their opinion if they don't like it.
But I mean,
they don't like it.
But hype is real, though. Hype is real. Like, you know, I think, you know, and let's be real, it goes both ways sometimes, right? Sometimes somebody can tell you, like I was mentioning, sometimes somebody can tell you that this is trash, right? And you automatically listen to it. Like, for instance, Coi Leray. I think she's the one that was on the worst end of that.
That's a good example.
I wish people actually listen to the album. It's actually pretty good. But you hear that it's Coi Leray and you just don't want to listen to it.
But do you see how peer pressure, the narrative that goes along with, and look, you know, hey, at the end of the day, before I even say that album might really be bad.
That's true.
We could turn around in 6 months and be like, "Yo, hey, for real, like, I don't really feel that way I felt when I thought it was pretty decent," and you could change your mind completely.
So,
right?
Let's put it on the table. Let's get ill-advised.
Let's do it.
What are some albums that you can just think of real quick on the top of your head where people have critically acclaimed, said this is a great album, and you disagreed? I can already give you one that for you, Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion's album is her. I forgot which album it was, but that was critically acclaimed. A lot of people
talking about Good News. Good News, the last one.
Good News.
Right.
But I know you said that you really wasn't feeling it. I mean,
it was trash. It was a trash album. Yo, I'm just calling it what it is. It was trash. Hey man, look.
Yo, honestly, there's one that you always say that pisses me off, and I'm like, it wasn't good. The album About Nothing by Wale. I'm like, you're like, dog, this is a classic album. I listen to it. I'm like, dog, I don't hear it. I don't hear it. I don't know. It's all right to me. I don't think it's that great.
You're tripping, man.
What
tripping,
else?
man.
There's a bunch of albums that I'm like, dog,
there's
it's
so many, man.
Great, bro. Like,
you know one that came out more recently, that's very polarizing is, let's just say, Donda. Mm-hmm. Think about how many people, when Donda came out, after were like, yo, this album is garbage, yo. What the fuck? Like, this album sucks. Who the hell thinks this album is good? And I'm like, bro, do y'all have ears? Are you not listening
shocked.
to this masterpiece of a product? What are you talking about?
I think they were thinking too high. Like, they were thinking like, yo, he's about to make Graduation, when in actuality it was something that was not as good as Graduation, but very good.
Yo, that's the most frustrating thing about people. It's that dynamic. It's this like peer pressure stuff, that this combo we're having, right? Where you can listen to an album or an artist or a song and be like, oh my God, what did I just hear? This is the most incredible thing I ever heard in my life. And then you turn around and you tell the next person, they're like, yo, that shit was trash. You're like, do you understand the dynamic and just what that kind of does? Like, it confuses you, and it lets you know that, but it lets you know that all of this is so subjective.
It's so subjective.
My God.
And I don't know if people know that as much.